All right, I'm going to play my pin chest here, and I am so glad the Community Cup, the 2020 Community Cup ended yesterday, and I am so glad that tournament is over. Those low scoring tournaments like that have never really been my cup of tea, and the roller coaster ride the last week was. I am just glad to just be out and just go have some fun. So I'm in my 77 account. I played the only thing we could play last week to get holes was Tour 3 for the Namhai Cliffs, and wasn't paying attention. And all I had to do was go in and play like one or two T7s last week to maintain my expert status, and I got relegated down to pro. So I'm gonna play this week so I can get my expert back. I'm playing in an expert bracket in the tournament, so it doesn't matter where I go. Let's see if we can go out here and do some playtime. And I've got my number 4 bag. I think this has got an Apocalypse in it. And I have played so little with my Apocalypse because I've only had one for, heck, it hasn't even been a year since I got it. I think it was like 9 months ago I got it after 2 years of playing. And it was at level 1. And then when the club card trading came out, I was finally able to get some club cards to it and get it up to level 4. But if you guys wonder why I don't play with my Apocalypse very often, it's because I just got one. I can play my 99 account up to T5. I have started playing some T5 in it, and I've promoted it up to pro instead of rookie. Even though it's got only T4 clubs in it, it's not an issue going up there. But I have promoted it up. And let me know whether if you guys want me to play my low level account, or if you guys need assistance. I can play my high level account. I got to remember the rings here. So it's 1.7. So there's 3, 4. That's one of the things. I'm so used to my other clubs that I gotta learn a whole new club. Hitting it one ring great to the wherever, right? Let's get used to playing with it. And my odd account, I almost have it to level 5. But I hardly ever played with my Apocalypse, even though it's a great club. I just there was anytime big curl shots come out, if you're in tournaments and you needed curl on a drive, it was a better option than the extra mile. But if you've got upper developed stuff and you've got your extra mile to level 9, it's got pretty good stuff. Especially with the top spin that was added on the extra mile at level 9. Eyeball adjustment. See if they can get it in the hole. Get it in the hole. Hitting it perfect. Let's see if they got that adjustment right. It looked like it was going to be to the right. That looks pretty good. Woo! That's a lot closer than it looked like it was going to be. Nice shot. If that was a shootout, that would be some problems right there. I've got my Guardian in this bag. The Guardian will hamper you just a little bit in one-on-one play when you're out on the course. But once you get to a shootout, it's not a bad club to have. And it's 1.2 per ring, so a ring set is 6. So there's 6, and there's a little. Hitting it one ring great to the left, which probably helped me. Probably not too bad. A little bit to the left. They would have won that shootout. It is so fun to just go out here and play and not have to worry about my notes and those low scoring. You look at that tournament, the Community Cup tournament, hole 2 and hole 8, you had to pick up the eagle, but the other 7 holes, you absolutely had to try and pick something up on every stinking hole. And in order to shoot, I mean, anytime you're in the have to shoot over a 30, and anytime you're looking at like 33, 34, 35 to win a bracket, those types of tournaments are, it's just, especially when you get towards the end, if you are shooting good, the pressure's really on all the way to the last hole. You have to get an Albie on the last hole in order to win. That's a lot of pressure. So anytime you make a shot, it's the big relief, and then anytime you miss on the next hole and you don't pick that up, then you get the big down, and so you got this big roller coaster ride. If you watched, if you haven't watched, I know sometimes the weekend videos come out and everybody's already played the round, and I get a few people that watch them. But if you have time, I set up a playlist for 77's weekend round, and I got an Albie on hole number 6, but the first 5 holes were just pretty flat. I did pick up the Albie on 6, but from hole 7 to hole 18, you want to talk about a roller coaster of emotion going through that. Was absolutely wild. And shooting a 35 in the opening round and peaking at that point and then coming back and shooting a 33 in the weekend, it's just one of those things where you shoot a 35 and you're like, man, if I lose this tournament, holy crap, that is awesome. Nice. Get in the hole. Nice shot. That will be hard to beat. My shot that I have on here gets me close, but it doesn't normally get me that close. It's 1.7. It's 1.2 per ring, so that leaves me 5. I'm going to do a ring and a little just because we're going against a headwind. Not much of a headwind, but and I hit it great to the left, which will compound the problem. That might actually roll me off. Was able to stick it up there. Normally on this particular hole, if you can get within 3 yards, you're usually half the time, especially I really like getting on this hole when there's headwind, because it takes about a 30 to 40% wind adjustment whenever there's headwind. Good game. Good game. Let's see if they'll rematch. Let's see if they got some braveness. No braveness from them. Not sure if people don't rematch because they're just the reflexes is to hit the exit button and go through the whole deal. Yeah, it's like me hitting the back button, or if it's just that people just don't want to build up the community and replay. I'm unsure. I know my teammates have tried to get replay, especially when we're in a tour like last week. We were in tour 3 trying to get one of the 2 tours or courses that's in there, and so with that 7 wind, there's 5, 6, 7. So I could make it over from there. I will tell you, no, this is the deal. This is the shot. I'm just going to show you the real way to play this hole when you're in one-on-one. Let your opponent do their own epic fail. Just get up here into this area right here. Lay that sucker up. There's 6. There's 7. And just lay it up right here. Now, normally in my bag, if I'm playing with my extra mile, I've got a sniper. I could have switched to one of my other bags and played it with a sniper, because then it's a sniper shot. You're in sniper range when you're out here. A lot of the tournaments, like the last 4 or 5 tournaments, haven't really had a lot of holes for the Guardian. There's some tournaments where we play in where the Guardian is definitely a club that you can use in your bag. But the last 4 or 5 tournaments, there hasn't really been a lot of holes where the Guardian was the club. If my opponent gets up there on the other side of that sand, they got a great shot coming in, but the deal is that is a really, really tough shot from up there because of the moguls when you come into the hole. So your opportunity when you get into the sand, it's not from there that it's difficult to get on, but whenever you're in the sand and you're behind those trees like that, you didn't do yourself any favors. So once again, letting your opponent fail and keeping yourself in play will net you more wins. I'm going to get right up on that hole. Going right at it. 8-4. There is 6. There's 7-2. There's 8-4. And I'm going to do just a little bit over. Trying to hit it perfect. Hitting a 1 ring great to the left again. I think I'm on a 1 ring great to the left trip today. I haven't played with my Guardian. Like I said, I haven't played with my Guardian in a long time, so I got to get used to having all the backspin. And less ball guide. So if you've got a sniper, the ball guide a little better. Now, the thing about it is this is a super easy shot, but when you're using a sand wedge, the needle's going a little bit faster. If you catch a grate to the left here, like a 2-ring grate to the left, you could end up hitting that tree. And if you don't make a good wind adjustment, it's the deal. So it's a super easy shot, but we're putting my opponent under pressure to make sure that they can get that ball up there. It's like I said, it's super hard. Look at all of the movement on this green. If they would have ended up where they wanted to, it's a really, really hard chip. That's why when we have this hole in tournaments, we're just trying to get on and one, because it's so hard to chip it up there. I mean, normally, like if you're in short chip range, think of the last tournament, hole number 9, the Island Par 5. I mean, if you can get up there in chip range, it's a pretty straightforward chip. This chip right here, you can be that same distance away, and it's tough. It's tough to do putts, depending if you're on the other side of the green from where my opponent is. It's tough to do putts from over there because there's so much movement on the green. Go into a shootout. See if I can get my butt kicked again. Trying to remember the Tour 7. I haven't played Tour 7 in a couple weeks, so trying to remember all these shootouts. All right, we're back on this hole. Let's get some big headwind here so I can remember whether it's 30 or 40%. I think it's a 40% when we have big headwind. I always like coming here when we have big headwind. And this is definitely one of those holes too where normally I like to go first, but this isn't one of those. This isn't a bad hole to go second, because if your opponent is like further than 4 yards out, my stock shot on here will always get me like 4 or less. But if they end up as close as my last opponent was, then you can go for it. But what you don't want to do is go for it too much, because you roll off the backside of that and you are toast. Like he'll continue to roll all the way down to the bottom. They had just enough speed. They were lucky they got on the fringe if we were actually in a tournament, because normally it'll end up on the green and you can't make that putt from down there. So my normal shot is I like to be dead center, right in the middle. And I like my ball line to be right in between those trees. And then the backspin and a little teeny bit of left-hand side spin so that it'll just stop right there at the cup. And I'm usually off a little bit to the right. 2-6. There's a 2-4. So we're a little over. Hey, that's not what I wanted to do. Are you going to let me grab the rings? Or are you going to, there you go, not let me make my wind adjustment? What was the deal there? Hitting it perfect? And usually you can just float it up into that area right there, and it's no fuss, no muss. You can press the limit to try and get to the cup, but see how close the cup is to the back of that ridge? If you have any speed at all and it rolls off, you're sunk. I mean, you're a long ways away. But that shot right there is like my hole-in-one chances, because I don't usually get aggressive on that hole. My hole-in-one chances are pretty low. But thanks. Rematch. Come on. No, nobody wants to rematch. Nobody wants to play. Maybe it's the 100,000. Maybe that's the deal. Nobody wants to. Everybody's so tight on cash they can't do. And most of the people that I play against are in the expert. And we'll start checking my opponents out so we can see what kind of cash flow they have. In my weekend bracket, there were 6 people in the top 10 that had over $1 billion earned, over 10,000 games. There was 3 relatively new expert players, but you could tell from the banners that they had that that's probably a secondary count. It was down to the very end. There was a guy down on the end that did not play, that had as many banners as me, that was down at the bottom, that didn't play. They came in with a 26 in the opener, and I don't know if they just didn't have time or were depressed or what the deal was, but they were the ones that I was like, okay, if anybody's going to catch me, it's going to be them. They know what it feels like to win. They're 6-2 or 6. They're 7-4. Just try and hit it straight forward. Hitting it perfect. Just trying to stay in the fairway. Fairway to green. That's the treat. That's the ticket in this game. The best pressure you can put on an opponent is to stay in the fairway. So if you go first, and you're on one of those holes, especially when you get on a hole where the wind's not desirable, instead of trying to press the issue, give yourself enough room so that you can work it out and just lay it up. And give yourself at least an opportunity for that next shot. Even if the next shot, the wind's still really undesirable and you've got to do a little bit of overpower, at that point, if your opponent has failed, they tried to be the hero and tried to get out there and go, well, hey, I can pound that ball out there. They gave you a free shot, but playing fairway to green will net you a lot of wins. Let's see if we can win 7 out of 8 here. Maybe losing the first one and get that out of my system. I always like to be a couple rings off of any transitional surface. And this is flat up here, so you can literally get right up to this. Okay, it's 4.3. That is, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 6, 4, 8. So we're a little bit less than 4 rings. Hitting it perfect. See if we can get it in the cup. Get close. Pretty close. A little too much speed. Maybe 4 backspin next time I'm on here with a Guardian, about 4 backspin. There's a little, this hill right here is so steep coming in that if you engage this hill, you're almost doing a rough bump in the fairway. And you can get that same kind of effect where the ball will dig in. It hits on that hill, and instead of getting an upward bounce, it bounces forward and it digs in. And so you get a little bit of that rough bump effect. There's a par 3 I can think of out there that, in my opinion, is like the most hole-in-oneable hole in the game. And if you play from the front, it's the same thing. You're actually digging in from the fairway. You're doing a rough bump in the fairway. See if my opponent can put it in a hole. I'm never a fan of putting in curl unless you have to. Like some shots you have to put in curl, so you put in curl. But if you can go straight out a hole and you don't have to include curl, don't include curl. Hold on 1 second. In the hole. That's a huge variable when you do curl, and if you don't have to do it, don't do it. All right, I want to do something here real quick. Let's put my grid on. I don't know why it disappears. If I go in and out of Golf Clash a couple times, like especially when I'm shooting videos, I'll go and I'll shoot a video on a hole, and then I'll go in and I'll post the hole. Sometimes I'll watch the video so that I can work out my notes, and then I'll post the video on YouTube, and then when I come back to Golf Clash, my grid will disappear. And it's the only program that I have on here that makes that grid disappear. Usually when I turn that grid on, it stays on. I've left it on all day and done other stuff on here just to see if it ever turns off, and it doesn't. We're obviously wanting to get practice on this hole today. So right dead center in the middle. That's my normal setup. I usually try and I'm going to put on a little teeny bit less side spin than normal. But I always want to start off a little bit to the right of this hole because it tends to bleed towards it. So there's 4-8. I'm going to do a 4-8 pull. See, look, my grid just disappeared. And I'm just curious to know if Playdemic's playing games with the grid thing, which would really piss me off, because if you've got an Apple device, that's an inherent part of your programming. You don't have to have a third-party program on there, and there's no way that Playdemic can mess with you. But Playdemic, and even though it's not against their terms of service to use a grid, I thought strongly about not using a grid, but the deal is I like the grid, and if you have an Apple device, that's an advantage that you can have on using the grid, so it's part of the program. And there's nothing anybody can do about that because it's part of the accessibility stuff. So you can see my opponent's trying to do that. It's almost ending up with a rough bump there. The way you combat that is to get closer so that that second bounce is on the fairway, on the green, and then you can use your backspin to tighten it up to the cup. Because that they might get away with this here, but they're not going to get away with that if they had a headwind. And it's so easy to roll off that I find that if you just lay it up there, always put on a little bit of left-hand side spin and tighten it up and just lay it up there, then in many cases on this hole, you'll just outright win because your opponent will roll off. See if that rematch. Come on, dude. Come on, Owen Wilson's. Wow. Of course not. Why would I think that they would replay? We'll see if we can do the whole pin chest here. Let's go out. Let's go get into the grid. Let's always keep 2 chests. Since we're playing here, I'm just going to open these all up just in case we can find one of those people that wants to replay. I'll just keep everything open but the golds. When I was playing every day trying to work my odd account, working towards Masters, playing every day, my whole goal was to fill up to get 4 gold chests every day. So you figure you got to play, you got to win 16 every 4th one. You get a gold, so you got to win 16 matches. And the real deal there is that if you're coming in with a 50% win rate, you're gonna have to play 32 matches, which is 3 hours if you're playing one-on-one, 3.5 hours a day. So raising your win percentage up to like 66%, trying to get 16 matches, you only got to do 24. And that's only a couple hours. So you can save yourself time by getting that win percentage. So playing consistent and not taking weird stuff, knowing how to adjust at the win. Like my opponent is sunk now. They're done. If I can lay up in the fairway over there on the other side of that sand trap, all I have to do is get out into that area right there and stay in the fairway, and I don't have to worry. And I do not have to worry about it. All I got to do is stay out in the fairway and have that shot going into the green, and they are done. There's 4-8. And they recognized that they were done. It just gave me the win. They saw me doing the wind adjustment and was like, no, this guy knows how to play, so we're done. He's not going to end up in the sand. I'm not a fan of doing that. I wouldn't care because I would force my opponent to make that shot. And the deal is that I would go out there and lay it up. And the only way you're going to get good at shooting those shots, those long shots going into the cup and have confidence in that, is to take those shots. And so I would have went from the sand if I was my opponent, and I wouldn't have tried to do some hero shot. I would have went as far as I could forward on that fairway area and put myself in the best spot that I could put myself in, and I would have went at it with a wood and tried to sink that shot, and I would have forced my opponent to make 2 good shots. Because I will tell you, the second shot with a Marlin is not it's not like it's in super hard, but it's not, that's not the easiest. It's not a gimme. This only takes about 2.5 topspin. The wind's pushing me forward. The wind's going to push me in, if I'm here, the wind's going to push me in this direction, 4-8. So the wind's going to push me out into the fairway. So I'm going to put a little bit of curl on it. I'm going to put just a titch of overpower. Hitting it perfect. And this is a hole you definitely want to end up in the fairway because you have a beautiful short iron shot into the green for eagle. And anywhere you get up there in the front, you have a short iron. If you're way up there in the front, you're like in minimum short iron. And from where I'm at, I'm probably in max short iron. But you have an awesome eagle shot here. So you definitely want to give yourself that opportunity by being up there in the front. I could have put a little bit more curl on that. But I can tell you from going and playing this forever, this hole, that if you come here with a level 2, level 3 extra mile, as long as the wind's blowing in some kind of a forward moving direction, it only takes a couple topspin. If you put on any more than that, you take the risk of rolling off into the rough. All right, let's find out where I'm at in my Hornet. My Hornet hits 111922. Okay, so there's max. And there's min, so there's mid. So if I want to get up here where I really want to get, where I'm on the green, putting backspin on it. This is more towards max. On this side of the cup, it's 1.1 per ring, so there's 5.5, and my grid is gone again. 5.5, 6.6, 7.7, 8.8, 9.9. I'm gonna lean just a little to the right. Oh, and I hit it great to the left. That grid thing's starting to piss me off. Like I said, this is the only program. This is the only program that I run on my computer, Golf Clash, where I'm having issues where it turns off. I would be very upset to find out that they had manipulated their program to do overlays, and it's especially because it's not clearly stated against their terms of service. I kind of find it funny that they gave us the okay that we can use a calculator. They said that it's okay for us to use a calculator. Wow. I didn't realize I had to get permission to use a calculator. But evidently you do. So hopefully everybody had a great tournament. And I am telling you, I wish that we had, when Golf Clash first came out, like there was a big gap between the first tournament and the second tournament. And then there was a gap between the second and the third. And we went like, I think we went between the second and the third. I think there was like between the third and the fourth, then there was the 4th of July tournament. So we had one in July, and then we had one right there at the Sakura Hills, I think, was right there at the beginning of June. And I think we had like a 3-week, maybe 4-week period before the 4th of July tournament came out. And at that time, as we went towards, it wasn't too far after the Labor Day, the 2017 Labor Day tournament, they kind of standardized it where it was every other week. We did have a round, the very first major, they changed the time, and we had a tournament, and then the very next, like Sunday, the tournament ended, and Monday, the first major started, and it was rough. It's like those 9-hole cups. I won the 2 9-hole cups we had. I won both of those in my brackets, but I absolutely hated them because it was so hard. I mean, you just get no time off. I mean, there's just no break. And at the time we were all like, man, could you standardize this? And now I wish we would go back to like every now and then having a couple weeks off, and they could do maintenance, or we could do some other thing or something. Instead of having a 9-hole cup on the in-betweens, maybe like they could have a tournament and then have like a mini tournament, or do something to break up the thing, because it's almost getting to the point where they come out with the tournament stuff. They used to not come out with the tournament stuff until I don't have enough backspin to make that shot happen. So where's my min? There's min. So probably in somewhere around the 2 per ring range. That's definitely going to be, let's call that 2. Let's do 2.6. There's 2.4. I'm going to do a little over 2 rings. I'm definitely going to do a big pull here, or a big add-on. And I hit a great to the left. It'd be nice sometimes if because they used to come out with the tournament stuff for the next week's tournament, like on Thursday. So you had a little bit of time off before you had to start thinking about it. And now you can get the information on the next tournament on Tuesday. For the people that are on the day ahead in the world, they get it on Tuesday, and for the rest of us, we get it on Wednesday. But enough people post it out there that you have access to it on Tuesday, so you really don't get any time off at all. one day today. And so I'm just out playing one-on-one, just trying to have some fun, just trying to remember just to have fun and go out there and just play and stay in the fairway and not worry about. I like when I'm playing one-on-one. There's a few holes like the hole we played right there where you've got a shot coming in. That 9-8 wind is not really great with a marlin. But you have a great shot of making an eagle, and you really want to go for it on those. But for the most part, when I'm playing one-on-one, I'm not that concerned about like trying to get in the cup. I mean, I'm shooting to that, and if I can get in there, man, I really want to bring my rock. I love this hole with a rock. I'm going to come out 4 rings and do max. I think that I might actually overshoot. Yeah, we'll try it. 4 rings. Take the wind out. There's 3, 6. Max curl. Isn't it perfect? See if the 4 rings is enough. With my rock, with my quarterback, I do 3 rings off, and I do that same exact shot. And with my rock, I do 4 rings off, or all 5 rings off, because it has 100% curl, or 96 or whatever. So this has got a little bit less. It's kind of in between the rock and the QB. So that's why I went 4 rings off right there. To me, that's a pure setup shot. In tournament play, I can't remember how I even played this hole. I think this hole's only been in one tournament when this course first got introduced. And I was actually playing a max overpower hook shot where my first bounce was right here, and I was actually ending up in front of the green with a short iron. And you have a really serious chance of making that with a short iron. But normally a one-on-one play, I always played it outside right there because it doesn't matter if you have a Guardian or a Saturn, or excuse me, a Sniper. You can get up to the cup. The only thing that you'll have a problem with is if you bring a QB and you don't get up into those shadows, is you won't have enough side spin on a marlin ball to get you around to the hole. So you'll have to put a little bit of curl on it. But the whole deal is just lay it up there, because most people go forward, and most people who go forward have issues. Not all of them, but there's a lot of them have issues. I definitely want to be 2 rings off of that transitional surface. And this Apocalypse got me far enough out there that I'm actually on track for the hole. Now it looks like the speed's a little too fast. A little more backspin. 9-2. There's 6, 7, 8, 9, 6. I'm gonna do a little less than 8 rings, just a little less. Hitting it perfect. Just trying to float myself up there and see if I can get my speed right. Those shots right there, I will sink those shots occasionally, but I'm not really worried about it. The whole deal here is that, and occasionally I'll play against somebody and they make that shot, but the whole deal is to force a shootout and stay in the fairway to make my opponent have to get up there. If they can reach with that wind, see how the wind is blowing from the right to the left? It's kind of blowing northwest by northwest. That it's blowing almost in the same direction as this rough right here. That's right here in front of the green. With that kind of wind right there, there is a rough bump that you can do, and it's pretty safe with that kind of wind, because if you make a bad adjustment, you're still in the rough. You just off to the left or the right. And that's about the only time I will do that rough bump, or if I've got really low wind. But there's 3 ways that you can come at it on that side. You can do the bounce over like my opponent did. You can do the rough bump, or if you have a backspin club, you can try and stick it on the green. But that rough bump's not bad, but you have to watch the wind. Like when you come to these holes, one of the things that's important is don't get married to a shot. So like if the wind was blowing really, really, really bad, like maybe the shot going forward's not possible. You got too much headwind, or maybe the shot to the right's not possible. So being flexible enough that you get out there, and instead of going, man, that wind sucks and I'm going to have to force the issue and do something, it's like quit being tunnel visioned on that side. And what's the shot if you go forward? Like what's it look like there? Or like where my opponent was out in that second shot, maybe the rough bump's the shot, or maybe the island shot's the shot, or maybe if you got the backspin club, sticking it to the cup is the shot. Coming to these holes and learning how to play them from different spots is big. I like this hole too. In tournament play, I play this hole totally different than I play it one-on-one. So I have my blue ring off. And then what I do, let's get so we can see the ball guide. And then I have no idea what the adjustment is I'm making right here. I'm just dialing it to the cup. I know I'm going to be a little on the inside there, so we'll move it out. And then we're going to do a 7-4. And then I just do a max adjustment here. So there's 6. We'll go right there, 7-4. Hitting it perfect. In tournament play, this is one of the very few par 3s in the game that I will play. I bring a I bring a Kingmaker to it, and I play it with a sniper and a Kingmaker, and the sniper you can actually start off on the green, because typically when we play this in tournaments, they give us a slight headwind. And if you come here with a sniper and a Kingmaker, am I doing a sniper? I might be doing a Guardian here. And you can, I think it is a Guardian, excuse me. So they usually give us a little teeny bit of headwind here, but if you bring a Kingmaker, you can actually get your red line up here, and you have just enough room to work out that wind, especially if you have like a 3-wind low or a 3-power low wind ball. You can start off on the green and you can backspin it to the cup, and there's a spot, and I can't remember where that spot is, so I have to go back and watch my previous videos in tournaments. And usually every time this hole's in a tournament, I get at least a couple hole-in-ones. And this is not a hole that people think of as hole-in-one, but if you do that particular shot, that backspin shot, it is definitely a hole that but it is fraught with danger. Fraught with danger. Let's see if they'll replay. That's a second loss right there. That's not good. And that's a hole that I usually do really good on. That was a bad little bounce. I got replay. Look at that. Somebody wants to replay. Jeez. That's unbelievable. They must be new. Brandon from the Saltwater Dogs. We'll give him some props. Give them some props. So I was talking to my teammate, Joe Golf. Joe Golf. And if you're in it, oh man, I really want to do this is another hole that I do a max overpower hook shot on in tournament play. So the wind's pushing me. Like if I went out in that direction, do I have enough room? I'm just curious to see, like I'm trying to see like what kind of curl, how that curl. I think I'm going to hit that sand if I don't come out a little bit further. I'm going to come out here. I'm going to go 2 rings off of that surface, and then we're going to go 6-9. So there's 6. There's about 9. I just want to see how it'll respond out there, because I usually take the shot with a rock, and with a rock, if you use the wind, you can get clipping it. That was that 2-ring great to the left. You can get over that sand and get up there, but in tournament play, I play this with a max overpower hook shot, and you can actually get on the green. It's typically you're right here. It's difficult to get through this little rough area, but it's with the max overpower hook shot, you can get right up here next to that sand and have a nice little chip on. Once again, it's fraught with danger, but there is a max overpower hook shot that you can do here, but I can't remember how to do it. I can't remember the spot out there. If I came here and played if I caught this hole 2 or 3 times and I was just doing the max overpower hook, I could relearn how to do it. But you'll see a lot of people come and they end up in the rough over on this side. Typically, if you're in one-on-one play, the best way to play it is to the right, because you can just lay it up over there. Here's Max Club. I'm going to do the full backspin. Let's see if we can just stick it right at the cup. Let's just get up there and stick it. See if we can backspin that sucker in. 3-7. There's 3-6. And a sliver. Hitting it great to the left. Got a little lag, a little joggy. So that's one of those holes. If you were trying to backspin it in, you want to set it up so that the second bounce is almost in the hole. It looked like it, when I pushed it to where I was going to put, because a lot of times I will put the second bounce in the hole and then it'll draw it back. But it looked like when I did that, like it changed, like the ball guide depressed. And when it depresses like that, it typically on this particular type of hole, because it rolls off on the backside of the cup, that when it hits, it's not going to get the drawback, that it'll actually roll forward. Good thing I got out of the rough right there, because that was a wood shot coming in. And while my Nirvana is a long iron, it's a long iron, not a wood. See if we can get them in the shootout this time. So it'll be the rubber match. Lost 2. I'm not sure how many I played, like 5 or 6. How much time we got on the video here? 40 minutes. So we probably played 6, somewhere in that neighborhood. See if we can get this, get the pin chest in an hour, maybe. We could get it in an hour a lot easier if we could get replays. Kohong Resort, hole 1, par 4. I need to check my opponent out. I think about checking out my opponents all the time, and then I forget. This is, once again, I'm going to be in between. I'm in the wrong club set here. So, like, playing this for a little bit with that ball, I don't have any backspin on this club, so I'll have to do the bounce. Did he bounce? Just a little teeny bit of topspin on it to roll it up there and get it rolling towards the cup. Okay, I'm going to do, it's 3. I'm going to do a 4-ring pull. I'm going to do 3.5 rings. I have no idea what that is, but that seemed about right. Isn't it perfect? Is that 3-6 plus 6? So that'll be 4-2. Speed looks good, and I am more concerned with speed than I am with where I'm at right there. Like, the deal is that would I have liked to have been 1.7 for closer to the cup and been in the cup? Yeah, but the whole deal is that on holes like this, getting your speed right is key, because that's the closest spot that I came to the cup. And I ended up stopping at the closest spot that I was to the cup in the entire travel there. So you'll see people all the time coming to holes, and if they could have stopped at their closest spot, they would have been 0.25 away, and they ended up 6 yards. So when you're doing these shootouts, if I can give you any one word of advice on shootouts is that before you start trying to worry about like how to get it in the cup, the first thing you have to focus on is what your speed is, because speed is super important. It's the most important. Good game. Let's see if they'll replay. Let's see if we can get ourselves a rubber match here. Come on. Come on, Brandon. You got one up. I got my money back. Now we're even. Now let's see. Come on, buddy. Let's put it on. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Putting it out there. That's what golf is all about. You don't go out and play golf and play one hole. You go out there and you play 9 holes with people. And I can guarantee you that there's, especially when you're out playing with friends and stuff, there's a, I'm not going to say there'd be gambling, because I think that might be illegal, but there might be a little. And with this kind of wind right here, the island shot that my opponent's taking with the Kingmaker is definitely this is definitely the way to go with this hole. But with a 7-3 headwind, that shot is super, super tough. Super tough. I mean, they're going to have to do max overpower here. They just have no, there you go. You have no shot if you're not using max overpower. So if you have big headwind, you have 2 choices. And you're using a Marlin. You can either come all the way out to the end out here, or you can hit it through the trees. And I'm going to hit it through the trees. I'm going to pound that sucker out there, because with that kind of, with a 9-7 headwind, I mean, there's some big issues there. That marlin ball's just bouncing. I mean, look at how fast that needle's going with a marlin. Hitting it perfect. 99 times out of 100, I end up in the rough. But this shot right here boils down to hitting it perfect. If you can hit this shot, and only about 1 or 2% of the time do I actually end up where a tree is physically impairing my ability to get on. The mass majority of the times you're just in the rough. And the thing is if you can hit that rough shot perfect, you're in the hole. If you come out here and lay up in the front, it's a tough pitch with a short iron. And the thing is guess what? You have to hit it perfect if you want any shot of it going in the hole. So nothing's really changed other than the needle speed's moving a little bit faster. My opponent's got a great shot from there, but I will tell you that that's a difficult shot because there's a lot of drop on this hole. So from where they're at, they're in a position where wind is not a factor, but slope is a factor. Look at how much drop there is on this hole. So I'm going to start off on the outside edge of the cup. And from where I'm at, wind might play a factor. So I'm going to go just a little bit more on the outside of the cup. Just try and hit it perfect. And I hit it great on the inside. Great. Two rings great to the right. And see how much it's dropping? So gravity is playing a factor. So as it starts to slow down going down the hill, the slope is pulling it to the right as it starts to slow down. So if you hit it really fast, like in real golf, we'd call it hitting it through the break. So if you came in there too hot, you'd actually smoke through the break. But this course, this has so much break to it that breaks to the right going down that hill that if you don't allow for the break, even if you're where my opponent is and you don't allow for the break, like the wind's probably not going to be a factor from where they're at, but break is definitely going to be a factor. I hope they hit it perfect. Let's hit it perfect and see if they get it in. They should be able to get it in from there. But you can see how much that broke. It broke half the cup. They were pointed at the point of where they were, and it broke half the cup just because of the break. So when you're on this hole and you're doing those short little pitches, and you're like, why the hell did that miss? I was right at the cup and I hit it perfect and it went off. It's not because of the wind. It's because of that break. That's key information on that hole. But I find that usually either the wind's blowing good enough for me to try and use the island, and the island's difficult when you have a low level ball. But if you got a tailwind, you can try and use a low level ball to get up there, and you need to do max curl on it. And the shot from far away, if you're doing that shot, is difficult. You ready for dinner? Okay. Okay. You got it. Okay. All right. Where's my opponent now? Good thing they went first. So what kind of wind we got? 4-2. So the wind right now is blowing kind of along that line. So we're have to see what kind of and they've got, like, I don't know if I can get up there with I might be able to get up there with a marlin. It doesn't look like it because they're right on their red line with a kingmaker. So I'll probably have to do the bounce over. There's a rough bump right there, and the wind is kind of blowing parallel to the rough. It's actually blowing a little bit more north of the rough, but it's blowing pretty close. Nice shot. Nice shot, man. My opponent plays T7 a lot. They've got these holes dialed in. Let's see if we can get up here. So we are, and I could do a rough bump from here. I'm going to do this shot from right here. So kind of roll out I'm getting from right there. So it's 5-4 or 5-1. So there's 4-8. So we're a little over 4 rings. Try and hit it perfect. Hit one ring great to the right. Distance. Let's see if I got my distance right. That way I know if I come back on this hole. One topspin is way too much. So I actually could have engaged a little bit of backspin there, maybe one backspin. I'm good game. That's lost 3. Look at that. That's not good. How much time we got? We may have enough time for one more hole. Hey, good luck. Good luck. Very nice. Those 2 that he won right there, that was my pin chest. So that was the 8 for the pin chest. Look at that. We got it in and within the hour. So I lost 3 out of 8. So is that 5 out of 8? What's that math work out to? See if I stayed on my percentages. 5 divided by 8. My brain's not working. That's 62%. My goal going in every day is to win no less than 66% of my games. If you're a 66% winner, you play 24. If you're trying to get 4 gold chests in a day, you only got to play 24, and you can typically get that done in 2 to 3 hours. So trying to stay on that track. All right, that was some Tour 7 play with my 77 account, and hopefully everybody will have a good off week and just get some one-on-one play in. But leave comments on here if you guys. Let me know if you want me to play my 99 account this week, and like I said, I can play up to Tour 5. Or if you've got upper developed stuff and you're trying, you're looking at T7, because T7. If you're not trying to be, okay, if you're not trying, let's see, I'm going to make sure I got enough time to talk about this. If you're not trying to go to be a max trophy player and you're just working on your clubs, there is a huge difference between Tour 7 and Tour 8, because in Tour 8, there's going to be holes in Tour 8 that you're going to have to bring out Titans, and you're going to have to bring out bigger balls. And you may not have to bring, you may have to up it to quasars on a few of the holes, but there are holes there that if you want to win, you're going to have to bring out a bigger ball. And you can go there and win with a Marlin, but your win rate is going to go down, especially if you're playing opponents. And when you start getting into Tour 8, people know how to make wind adjustments. And typically people who are successful from Tour 8 on are the people that know how to make wind adjustments and know how to do that stuff. And then they're willing to bring out a bigger ball to win the 300K. And so you're going to find that your win percentage is going to go down unless you can, number 1, make great wind adjustments, and number 2, you're willing to pull out whatever ball it takes to win that hole. But in Tour 7, that's not the case. You can play every hole in Tour 7 with a Marlin ball. I think there's one hole out on Tour 7 that I bring out a quasar, because a quasar just makes that hole shine if you've got a quarterback. And so I only have to play with low-level stuff. Most of the people who play in Tour 7 that are going up, like trying to become max trophy players, they just breeze through Tour 7 and go up to Tour 8 and 9 because they're looking for cash flow. And so you'll play a lot of people that don't know how to make wind adjustments, or they don't know, they lucked out and ground out to get to Tour 7. And Tour 7 is really your ATM machine. If you're looking to build up your bankroll, you can go into Tour 7 and you can build up. If you're playing regularly every day and you're playing for your pin chest and you're playing for those 4 golds every day, you can go into Tour 7 and you can gain $1 million a day, because you're just going to be, if you're winning 16 a day, that's 1.6 million a day. It doesn't take very long before you start tacking that on. I quit playing Tour 7 for a long time, and I was just playing the lower tours, and I had viewers that asked me if I could start playing Tour 7 again just to do it. And I went from, I think I was at like 32 million forever in a day, and just not even playing it full time. You just go out and you start winning, 1 million coins a day. It does not take very long to get to 55 million. And 55 million coins is nothing in this game, especially if you're going up. Like if you're playing in Tour 9 at $1 million a pop, or you're playing in Tour 10 at $3 million a pop, the bankroll that you need to be able to go out there and play and have fun and not worry about coins. You never want to play this game where you're focused on coins, where it's like, hey man, if I lose this match, I'm going to be broke. You never want to play. Why are you playing on that tour? Go down and build your bankroll up. And Tour 7 is the tour that you can really build your bankroll up. And it also will help you learn how to make those wind adjustments, and it'll help you out in your game. But if you're going up, go up. But if you're not and you just want to work on your clubs, Tour 7 is the best spot to do it. So if you want me to shoot videos this week with 77 and Tour 7, I can. I can go down and I can do any tour you want with 77, and I can do up to Tour 5 with my 99 account. So if you want me to play in any particular tours, just let me know in the comment section of the video. Just give me a comment, and then I will, as I play for my pin chest every day, I'll post videos for that account. All right. Thanks for watching.